A new fan theory from Reddit is blowing up, having to do with Avengers Endgame and the snap from Infinity War. Is it possible that everyone that was snaptured did not actually die at all? Well, we are going to break this crazy theory down. This is the Nerdy News Rundown. Let's get you filled in. Happy Friday, everybody. You made it through another work week. Congratulations. Now, before we get into this crazy theory, I need to shout out Quincy Jones, who got the nerd card question correct from the show yesterday. You definitely know your stuff when it comes to Marvel trivia. So shout out to you, Quincy Jones. We'll do another nerd card question at the end of this show. Did you guys notice the sweet Den of Nerds merch that I'm rocking? It's very cool and lets everyone know how hip and nerdy you are. So in case you didn't know, this whole Avengers 4, Avengers Endgame thing is kind of a big deal. People have been talking about it a little bit. And, you know, I actually saw this theory pop up. A couple of people covered it in the news a couple of days ago. And at first I thought it was just another theory about like the soul world, the souls from the snap going there. And I was like, okay, we've already heard this. No need to do it. But then I saw a couple of people cover it in videos. And it's way more than just a theory talking about the soul world. It's actually very interesting and ties into some of the thoughts that I have with the quantum realm, parallel realities, multiple Earths, and Secret Wars in Phase 4. So here we go, guys. One more time. We're gonna speculate. Oh, yeah. So, Joe the Hamface. Come on, bro. Really? Posted this theory on Reddit just a couple of days ago. I'll try to remember to link the thread in the description so you can go check it out. But it all has to do with this idea that when the snap occurred, that half of the life and half of the people did not just die or disintegrate, but that they were moved into a parallel reality. Essentially, the idea here is that the Infinity Stones, when tasked with this thing that Thanos wanted them to do, decided among themselves, I guess, that the best way to do this was to actually split our reality into two parallel realities, have half of the people exist in this reality and half of the people exist in this reality. Now, in this guy's theory, the idea here is that we watched a lot of these other people just disintegrate, but instead of just dying, they sort of reapparated or reappeared in a different Earth, like the same Earth that we have, except that the half of the people that survived are not there. They are in this reality. Now, Joe the Hamface goes on to explain that in a Marvel mobile game that is out and popular right now, the idea is that there are these two parallel Earths and that they are colliding, and if one of them is not destroyed, they will both be destroyed, and you have Avengers from both Earths fighting, and it's this really weird thing. Now, what's interesting is that concept comes from the Time Runs Out series that Jonathan Hickman was working on with the Avengers and the New Avengers, which led right up to the new Secret Wars. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll be familiar with this. I've been talking about this for a long time. A lot of Jonathan Hickman stuff was adapted in Infinity War. I mean, Call Obsidian, I guess the Black Dwarf or whatever they called him in that movie, Proxima Midnight, all of those characters come from the Jonathan Hickman run. The idea of a standoff in Wakanda with the Avengers comes from Jonathan Hickman. So it's fair to say that this is an idea that Marvel is well aware of and that they might be using. Now, central to this theory is the idea that Ant-Man, being in the quantum realm at the time of the snap, would have been safe basically from both events, and that maybe he even knows of the other universe. Perhaps he even pops back up in the reality where all of those characters are still alive and all of the characters that we think are alive in our universe are not there. And this idea would be that these Earths are sort of converging, and that one of the big sacrifices that will have to be made is one of these Earths is going to have to be destroyed in order for the other one to persist. And this Reddit post all presupposes that we are headed towards Secret Wars, that, you know, because of all the comments made by the Russo brothers, which, yeah, I did a big video breaking that down. Go check that out. But yeah, we're headed towards Secret Wars. I agree with him in this respect, but there are a couple of problems with this theory. One being, I think it's just a little too much too soon for casual audiences. Frankly, I like the idea of these people being put into a parallel dimension or another reality, but from all of the research and all of the theorizing that I've been doing, I do not think that it would split our reality and put these people there. I just think that's a little too weird for audiences to grab onto as an idea. But instead, these characters could show up in different realities, in different versions of our Earth that were already established out there within the multiverse. Maybe they're in the quantum realm in some way, you know what I mean? And maybe Scott runs into a few of them or some of them and knows that when he comes back to our reality. They could all be in the soul world, which is another good option here. And they, from the soul world, could have some scenes and maybe even find a way through Doctor Strange to interact with the Avengers that we have. Now, let me be frank here. I do believe that we are going to get into a scenario within the Marvel Cinematic Universe where Earths are colliding and we are going to have to destroy parallel realities in order to keep our reality safe. I do think that's an idea that we're going to get in the future of the Marvel movies, but I think it's just too soon to add that to the idea of Infinity War. I mean, you need to focus on Thanos. Thanos is the big bad. They built this guy up for 10 years. He beat the Avengers. He accomplished what he wanted to do. Now, they're going to have to figure out a way to combat him and undo the snap or bring all of these people back. Because I think just logically thinking, there's no way the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to continue forward with half of all of the life in the universe gone. I mean, that's not what happens in Marvel Comics. They sort of undo it. So they're going to figure out a way to do that. I think that time and multi-dimensions are both going to play a role, and Marvel is definitely hiding stuff from us. But I just think it's too weird of an idea to introduce the converging of these two Earths, because that would be a much bigger deal, you know what I mean, than even getting the snap undone, right? Because if reality is just destroyed, if both of these realities are destroyed, then it's not half of the universe, it's all of the universe. And so I think that's just a little bit too weird of an idea. However, Joe the Hamface is definitely onto something. This is a stream of consciousness that a lot of YouTubers and theorizers out there are on. We believe that we are headed towards Secret Wars and that we're going to get multi versions of our own Avengers in different Earths and realities through the multiverse. That's definitely happening. But again, I think it's too soon to introduce all of that in one movie, which is essentially a part 2. And as I've said in other theory videos, what I think is happening here is they're going to sort of tease this idea. They're going to hint at this idea. And although we are going to get a little taste of the multiverse, a little taste of what it's like to hop through different dimensions, I do not believe that that's going to be the main way that they beat Thanos. It's just going to be some flavor that's sort of as an appetizer for what is to come in future films. We know through the comments about Michael Douglas, through the comments about Captain Marvel having to do with the quantum realm, that the quantum realm and multi-dimensional stuff is going to play a big role moving forward in the MCU. What I think is going to happen is something that the Avengers do in Endgame is going to sort of break reality even beyond what the snap did. That breaking of reality will then make the builders start the convergence, which is essentially the self-destruct sequence for the entire multiverse. And the phase 4 of the MCU will likely be our heroes trying to undo that. However, I guess I can't say that for sure, and who knows, man, maybe Joe the Hamface is on to something. Maybe we're seeing different versions of our Avengers even in the Endgame trailer. That's why it's so weird, and maybe it will be this thing where they are ultimately going to have to sacrifice one of these realities in order to have this other one persist. What do you guys think about it? Because that is the news, guys. One more crazy Avengers 4 Avengers Endgame theory to close out the week of the Nerdy News Rundown here. I just wanted to bring this theory. I love doing these. I love shouting out the people on Reddit who come up with these really cool theories. This one's a good one. It's got a lot of good deets in it. I'm personally skeptical of it happening, although I am with this guy as far as us heading towards Secret Wars. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think there's any truth to this theory put forward by Joe the Hamface? Do you think that it's totally not going to happen? What do you think about time travel and multi-dimension hopping? All of your thoughts and more about Avengers and the future of the MCU, let me know in the comment section below. All right, everybody, let's check that nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what is the name of the group of villains that go around in the Jonathan Hickman Time Runs Out event and start destroying planets on their own? They basically decide among themselves they're going to go out and start destroying these other Earths to give our reality more time. What is the name of that group of villains? It's super cool. I hope we see it in the MCU. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I will see you in the next video, which will likely be a fan chat live stream Sunday morning for Star Wars Sunday. Come check that out. Is Sabine Wren in The Mandalorian? Is Luke Skywalker going to be a god in Episode 9? We're going to cover all of that and more. Come back on Sunday.